How long will bonds continue to slide? That's our topic for today's Backstage Pass. Well, happy Wednesday, everybody. Hope you're having a great day so far today on this beautiful September day. Stocks are up so far today, and mortgage bonds are up as well. Mortgage rates opened about where they closed off yesterday. There was some more inflation data, another inflation report that came out today. We'll talk more about that in just a minute, but first, let's talk about some of the headlines, other headlines for the day. Number one, the White House has announced that they might begin to purchase oil once WTI goes below $80 a barrel. And the reason why is because they want to help refill or replenish the strategic petroleum reserve that we've been using to help make sure there's plenty of oil supply in the market. A couple things on this. They're going to stop using the strategic petroleum reserve at the end of September, and when they stop doing that, that means that there's going to be less supply in the market, which could have an upward push on prices. And then if they do start to purchase oil, well, that could even push prices further. Again, both of those things could have implications as oil prices rise on inflation. So that's why we're kind of taking a look at that. Another news item is there is talk of a railway strike right now. And if talks aren't resolved by Friday this week at midnight, well, that could potentially disrupt pretty majorly supply chains across the United States. The United States still relies very heavily on railways to get goods from one side of the country to the other, or just inside, regions. Railways are still heavily used, and so if there is a prolonged strike, well, again, that could be very disruptive for supply chains, which could put some upward force on inflation as well. We hope that that gets resolved by this Friday at midnight. Now, in mortgage news, Mortgage Bankers Association released their application data for last week that showed that purchase applications were flat week over week, didn't go up, didn't go down. Month or year over year, purchase applications are down about 28% right now. The national average for the 30-year fix, well, that rose to 6.01% by the end of last week. It's about 3% higher than what it was last year at this time. And look, we know that interest rates have been moving up, kind of creeping up this week as well. Refinances, well, they fell by 4.2% week over week last week, and they're down 83% on the year. Now let's move on to this inflation data that came out today. Today we had the PPI, the Producers Price Index. It's similar to the CPI, which came out yesterday, but it's on the wholesale side. And PPI data, really it came in, the headline, the data reflected kind of the CPI data. So it was not a pure reflection, but it was similar. The PPI headline data came in nominal. It wasn't much of a change. But the core data, the core PPI, which strips out food and energy, well, that did go up a little bit, but not quite as much as the CPI did. So the markets in reaction to that, well, they didn't react very much at all. As a matter of fact, like I said earlier, stocks are up a little bit. Mortgage bonds are up a little bit as well. And just by the way, whenever we refer to the mortgage bonds, we had been looking at the UMBS 4.5% coupon. We've now flipped that over, and we're now taking a peek at and watching the one that we're watching is the UMBS 5% coupon. So that's what we're talking about when we refer to mortgage bonds, and they're up today. They're up about 6 basis points at the time of recording, which is good news. The 10-year yield is down about 2 basis points at the time of recording. Now, mortgage rates ended the day yesterday. The 30-year national fixed for the national average was at about 6.28%. Today, we're expecting that to be about the same, 6.3%, somewhere in that area. And tying it all back together, the topic of the day, how long are mortgage bonds going to continue to slide? Well, the answer is we're really not sure. There is a concerted effort in the market right now to keep the 10-year yields below the 2022 high, which we saw back in June. And so far, they've been able to do that. They haven't pushed through that ceiling of resistance. And again, it really looks like the markets are trying to keep underneath that ceiling. So that is good news for the mortgage bond. But look, ultimately, mortgage bonds and what's going on with mortgage bonds and mortgage rates, it's going to follow inflation pretty closely. And as the Fed continues to raise the Fed fund rate in order to slow down the economy and fight inflation, well, as inflation starts to come down, that's when we will see mortgage rates start to come down. We'll see the price of mortgage bonds start to go up. We'll see the 10-year yield start to come down, and we will see we'll see mortgage rates start to come down as well. Short answer, we're not sure when that's going to happen, but we do know again that right now there's definitely a concerted effort to keep that 10-year yield underneath that ceiling, and we hope that plays out throughout the rest of the week. Now, again, it's like I said yesterday, it's easy to focus on the negative, and when you do, it definitely gets into your psyche. Listen, it's important to understand what the markets are doing and how it affects everything, but it's also important to focus on the positivity, focus. It's all a choice. So focus on the positive, focus on what you can control, your effort, your attitude, your mindset. Focus and positivity, well, it's a choice. And that's all the news that we have for today. I hope you have a wonderful day. Have a great rest of your week. We'll see you tomorrow.